Hey everyone. Okay, so today I want to talk about a harsh truth uh, to send you into the weekend. Here it is. The hippies, hipsters, and social media wellness influencers like Professor Momfluencer himself, Jonathan Haidt, thinks that we need to develop our passions first and then develop the skills to do that first. Here's the thing. That's not true. You are your job or your useful set of skills because people have needs and assign value to those who meet them. If you don't meet those needs, then that's what leads to divorce, firing, uh, poor relationships, all kinds of things. So, how do we fix this thing? Online, there's a ton of neurodivergent discourse that uses the language of the victim. Now, neurodivergent people are absolutely uh, 5 times more likely to be victims of abuse, neglect, and exploitation by other people. That's a statistical fact. For more on that, look in the bio. Um, Now, look in the caption uh, below this post. Uh, what I mean is, we self-gaslight ourselves. When something doesn't go the way we wanted it to, when something happens that was genuinely out of our control, and those of us with autism and ADHD, we have OCD like tendencies, uh, dyslexia. We try to control the situation as much as possible. But inevitably, there's a certain amount of letting go that you have to do in order to manage things in life. And we're not so good at it. I'm not so good at it. A lot of people are not so good at it. Okay. Doesn't mean they have obsessive compulsive disorder. Okay. Or they're control freaks or anything like that. There's a certain amount of stuff that you have to let go of. Okay. So when we self gaslight, we blame, make excuses, and complain about situations. We use victim language and we cause the same repeating cycle. Now, our intentions, you know, but when you believe you have no skill, and this leads to imposter syndrome, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, all of these things. So that belief makes us believe that you have no skills or can't do a job of, say, being a parent, a partner, or in your professional life. You subtly over time begin to act that way, even though your intention is nowhere there. Okay? You have that impact because all you talk about is how things are not going the way you want them to. Okay? This is obviously a problem, not unique to just neurodivergence, right? Intentions are almost, our intentions are almost never to hurt. But they do sometimes, and you don't quite stick the landing. And what can you do about that? When people have needs and assign value to those who meet them, you make it a process question. Okay? What that means is this is not a neurotypical outcome driven question. Remember, from the previous harsh truth monologue, who and what questions. For example, who is hurt and what do they need? Okay? So, that is a typical who needs something, who is who has a problem, and what do they need. Okay? That is the typical social emotional question for developing neurotypical kids. Okay? In AA, there's the serenity prayer. Look it up. But to simplify it, Teddy Roosevelt said, do what you can with what you have where you are. Now, this makes it a process, a 3-step process. Because it starts with action and filters through questions like what you have, what you know about the situation. Say, for example, a kid is drowning in a pool and you had to take the CPR first aid exam for your high school PE final. You have a skill to help that kid. Go do the thing. Okay? These are yes or no questions, and it teaches you to rely on your gut. Now, where you are is critical. Are you overstimulated, exhausted, thirsty? Has your adrenaline spiked, triggering fight or flight? That's where the problem of overthinking comes in. So, simplify the problem even more. Okay? Do what you can with what you have where you are. Or simplify it to ready, fire, aim. Ready? Do what you can. CPR, you can help. You don't, call 911. Okay? Fire with what you have, the knowledge that you already have about the situation, where you are. Then you set an intention. Act, knowledge, act, skill, intention. That's how you can speed up the process. And it leans toward your ADHD trait. Okay? That is all about reacting in an extreme situation. I hope that helps. Let me know. Next week, we'll talk some more. Another harsh truth. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.